Sean at Action Sprout here. One of the most common questions we get asked is about posting frequency. How many times should I post? When should I post? Questions like that. But it usually revolves around, should I be posting every day, 2 times a day, 5 times a day, once a week? How much should I put out? And the short answer to that is as much as you can that's good quality. And in general, what we recommend is at least once a day. And where we get that from is the data that we look at and monitor here at Action Sprout. So I thought I would actually take a second and run through some of that data. And we're going to look at real-time data here and just show you what some of the data points to. So what I'm looking at here is a real-time analysis of kind of a sample of Facebook pages within a couple of categories. So this is not meant to be inclusive of the entire universe of Facebook or all of the organizations that are represented, but a pretty good sample that can actually give us an idea of what's happening. And what we're going to look at is the sample size. So we're going to go through and look at nonprofits, politicians, political organizations, news organizations, and then different sizes of Facebook pages. And we'll look at kind of what the averages are and how things change. And what we're going to look at here, a couple numbers. The sample size, so how many Facebook pages are we looking at to generate the averages? The posting frequency, so how much organizations post. So in this case, small nonprofits post about 0.12 times per day. So that's a little less than once a week. And then the average engagement per post, so how many people engage with each of those posts. And then the average number of fans. So in this case, a small nonprofit has about 1,000 fans on average within the set we're looking at. So let's start there. So a small nonprofit with about 1,000 fans are generally posting about once a week, which, by the way, isn't great. Like, again, our recommendation is once a week. So they're doing about once every, a little less than once a week, actually. And they're getting about 11 people on those, which means they're engaging about 11 people a week with their Facebook page. But let's actually move up a little bit, and let's look at a slightly larger Facebook page. So again, what we're looking at is as pages grow, what does that look like, and how do things change, and what are the ones that are actually growing? What are they doing? Is what we're looking at here. So within a medium set of nonprofit Facebook pages, on average, they have about 10,000 fans. So we're seeing a larger fan base. They've grown that fan base through some activity. And what we're seeing is that on average, those pages are posting about a half a day, which means every other day they're making a post on their Facebook pages. So quite a bit more frequency than that once a week. They're at about once every other day. And they're engaging about 47 people per post, which means they're engaging about 100 people per week. On their pages. So quite a bit more. And you can see how it starts multiplying. If you're doing every other day, then the amount gets multiplied by the average engagement per post. Now let's look at a large Facebook page here. And in this one, again, the sample sizes are getting smaller because there's less and less of these in the universe. And for a large Facebook page, generally these have about 50,000 fans on average for that size of a page. They're almost at a post a day. Assume they're pretty close to a post a day, and they're engaging about 123 people per post. So they get about 700, little over 700, close to 1,000 people per week that are engaging on those ones. And then now let's click over to very large, and we see that they're now above a post a day. So they're consistently putting out stories every day for people to see and for Facebook to know who to serve it up to. And they're engaging about 261 people per post. And these ones are sitting at about 150,000 fans per page that they've got there. And you can see that there's a theme here. The ones that are posting more frequently are the larger ones. And you could say that when you're larger, you need to post more frequently and you have more resources, and that's true. But we do see the movement also happen. So those that are posting more frequently tend to grow at better rates and tend to become larger pages over time. And then if we look at really large nonprofit Facebook pages here, we see that we're well over 2 a day. So they're consistently posting 2 stories every day to their Facebook pages, and they're engaging about 1,000 people for each of those posts that they're putting out there. And again, these are the really large pages. These are ones that are approaching that million fan count kind of number within their pages. So that's nonprofits. So let's jump back to small, and let's look at a different segment here. So let's look at politicians. So these are political candidates. Political candidates are politicians on Facebook. So again, small, about 0.2 posts per day. So a little better, actually. Small politicians are actually doing a little better on frequency of posting than nonprofits. And they're actually engaging a little bit more people per post that's there. If we jump up to medium-sized pages, again, we see we're approaching about every other day, about 145 people per post. And we get up to approaching every day and about 600 people per post. Now, one of the things that you'll notice in the theme here is I'm looking at the average engagement per post. What that tells me is if you increase your frequency, you can dramatically increase your reach because you're going to be posting more stories that are reaching an average of the same amount per post, assuming your quality stays up. So somebody who's posting about every other day and engaging 600 people, if they went to every day and engaged 600 people per post, they would double their Facebook page reach almost overnight within that thing. So again, let's keep going here. Very large pages, we're at 1 a day, and then we get into the really large political candidate ones, and we see that they're, again, at about 2 a day. So you're seeing a theme here. The larger the page, the more they're getting into that 1 or 2 posts a day on average. So let's go ahead and we'll look at political parties here, and we'll do the same thing. And again, you see political parties are sitting at about almost a post every other day. So political parties and organizations are actually doing a better job. Smaller ones are actually doing a better job at getting something out there almost every other day, as opposed to once a week. And then as we jump up here, medium, we get to 1 a day, which is great. And then we get to large, we're at 2 a day. So actually in the political party and political organization space, we're seeing a higher degree of posting frequency. You're also, if you noticed from the previous ones, we're also seeing a large amount of engagement per post, even at this size of a page here. And then if we jump up and we look at the very large, we're well over 3 a day. And then if we look at the really, really large ones, we're hitting 7+ posts per day that are going out there. And again, fairly large number of fans. These are larger Facebook pages. But again, frequency of posting really matters for increasing that. And then lastly, we'll just look at news because it's an interesting comparison between an organization or a political candidate and an organization that's actually about engaging and pushing content out. So small news organizations are almost at a post a day. But they're not engaging nearly as many people on those posts that they're putting out. And then if we look at a slightly larger news organization, they're, again, well over 2 posts a day. So even at the fairly small 12,000 fan size in news, they're getting up there in the posts per day. And then as we go up, you'll see that number just keeps going up. So at large, we're at over 5 posts a day. At very large, we're over 10 posts, or 9, approaching 10 posts per day. And then at the huge level, or the really large ones, we're at 18+ posts a day. So multiple posts every single day. You know, you get into that almost every hour or multiple per hour kind of rate there. So I hope that was helpful. I know it's a bit abstract, but looking at the data and what's growing and what's working, one of the things that we see that's pretty consistent in a lot of things is the pages that are growing and continuing to reach and engage more people are getting their frequency up. And it doesn't mean you need to get to 18 posts per day. But 1 a day does seem to be a pretty critical threshold for pages that grow beyond the small, the really small. I'm talking like 250 to 500 fans, and that 1,000+, and growing into that size and keeping the reach and engagement up. So you've got to be putting out a post a day to be able to do that. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about data or posting frequency, you can always find us on actionsprout.com, and we have live chat, and we're happy to dig in and help answer questions that you may have related to putting out more content and getting more engagement on those posts. Thanks.